carrots, proxies, hollows. What the hell are all of these characters talking about? The number one complaint I hear with Zenless Zone Zero's story are a couple things. One, there's too much jargon, too many confusing terms that are used way too often. The other complaint is that there's a little too much yapping between all the characters. Zenless Zone Zero likes to tell its story in a different way than most. It starts you off in medias res, which is Latin for in the middle of things. It just throws you into a scene. On top of this, it likes to do a lot of implicit world building. What that means is that Zenless Zone Zero will always try to show you how things like carrots function without ever telling you straight up like what they mean or explain it to you. It's not for everyone. Like, that's probably the biggest understatement. Fortunately for you, I happen to like this type of storytelling a lot. And so in this video, I'm going to take the opposite approach. We're going to go over all of the events in the prologue in this video and definitively explain all the confusing jargon and terms that the characters love throwing around so much. Let's get started. The game opens with a shot of the Cunning Hares odd job agency running from the Red Fang gang in a building located on 14th Street. At the same time, there is a live news story being broadcast to the citizens of New Eridu, a huge megacity where most of our story is going to take place. To me, New Eridu is pretty much like Tokyo and the greater Tokyo area, a metropolis made up of many sections known as prefectures. The live news broadcast shows Bringer, the head of Janus Quarters Public Security. Bringer says that public security, New Eridu's police force, we'll call them PubSec for short, is chasing the Red Fang gang for a terrorist attack they launched against a research institute called the White Star Institute. This ongoing operation is interrupted by a hollow, a black dome barrier suddenly appearing near the scene. Now, zoom in to the chase. The Cunning Hares are found, cornered by the Red Fang gang and their leader, Miguel Silver, also known as Silver Tears. Before explaining the scene, let's take a quick look at the Cunning Hares, who we'll be seeing a lot of in this video. Nicole Damara is a young, busty, streetwise agent who is the boss of the Cunning Hares. She's tricky, street smart, and very slippery when it comes to paying her debts. If someone were to ask you what Nicole is thinking about, you could bet it's money and how to spend it. That said, Nicole is a capable leader and takes this responsibility quite seriously. Ambi Damara is the Cunning Hares combat specialist. She took the last name Damara after joining up with Nicole in Gentle House, which obviously later became the Cunning Hares. Ambi's personality and combat skills suggest she has had military training. She is soft-spoken but direct and pragmatic. She also likes movies a lot. Ambi often says what she thinks without holding anything back. Billy Kid is the last member of the Cunning Hares. He is a total AI construct, not a cyborg, so no human part on him whatsoever, and has passed what is called the Forbidden Fruit test. We don't know exactly what this test is, but passing it means the AI can act completely on its own, or at least that's what's implied. Many AI in Zenless have passed this test, including Qingyi, who you'll meet in a later chapter. Despite being an AI, Billy is childish, zany, and impulsive. He idolizes and often imitates the fictional hero Starlight Knight, so he's not really like a computer. He's pretty human-like, all things considered. Let's jump back to the scene where we find Silver tearfully confront the Cunning Hares and demand the return of the Strongbox that Nicole is holding. This Strongbox is important to the prologue and belongs to the White Star Institute that I mentioned earlier. The Red Fang gang attacked the Institute to get the Strongbox, but the Cunning Hares stole it from them. The Cunning Hares are like mercenaries or adventurers for hire. They take jobs that are posted online for pay. As slippery as the Cunning Hares usually are, they are outnumbered here and cornered, their backs to a bulletproof wall. In a daring stunt, Nicole tells Billy to grab a flashbang from one of the Red Fangs and pop it, shining a bright light through the window, which attracts the attention of a PubSec combat helicopter. This creates a sudden standoff. The Red Fang gang has been found by PubSec and must choose to flee and allow the Cunning Hares to escape, or be caught along with the Cunning Hares. Or that's what Nicole thought anyway. The angry reporter tells Bringer, because they found the Red Fang gang, to not capture, but rain justice on the Red Fangs. The helicopter launches a missile straight into the window, causing a blast that throws the Cunning Hares out of the building and into the hollow that I mentioned earlier, which suddenly emerged. Here we see Ambi falling into a hollow. After she lands, she records a survival log and says her chances of getting lost in the hollow are 96.4% because she doesn't have what she calls a carrot or proxy support. This is where a lot of players get confused, but don't worry. Like I said earlier, we're going to break down all the jargon she uses here. Let's start with hollows. Hollows are zones that cover parts of the natural world, appearing as black domes from the outside. Inside, the landscape looks pretty normal, but is actually extremely chaotic and dangerous. Tall black and green crystals, called ether crystals, and many random portals, known as fissures, appear inside. The inside of a hollow resembles an ever-changing maze with no visible exits. The inner structure is random and has no consistent landmarks, making it easy for people to get lost. Hollows are also filled with ether, a formless substance that permeates the air. Staying exposed to ether long enough will transform humans into mindless, bloodthirsty creatures called ethereals. While we've never seen an AI transform into an ethereal, Billy Kid has expressed the similar fears to prolonged ether exposure. Hollows are the foundation of the world in Zenless Zone Zero. They are like natural disasters, such as tornadoes and earthquakes, but they do not go away on their own and will expand if left alone. Inside a hollow, both space and time are distorted randomly, and regular food gets corrupted by ether pretty quickly. Navigating this changing landscape without proper tools or skills is nearly impossible. And having an escape route is practically the most important thing when it comes to hollow investigation. Even with the dangers, hollows attract many people of all kinds because of the valuable resources inside. Lost items and treasures can be found, drawing illegal hollow raiders to plunder hollows for their valuables. Ether crystals and ether can be harvested to produce energy and items like explosives, making ether a significant resource for the city of New Eridu, which prides itself on mastering the technology needed to control hollows and extract ether. Now let's talk about carrots. This is probably the most confusing term for most players. Carrots are digital maps of the inside of a hollow. They expire with time and are often not complete, but usually they're enough to point you towards a hollow's exit. Carrots are made by observing clues or tracing patterns inside a hollow. This data, coupled with accumulated data from hollow research that is publicly available for the most part, is crunched by a set of algorithms in order to create what is known as a carrot. This makes carrots very important for anyone exploring a hollow, since the biggest danger in a hollow is getting lost and transforming into an ethereal. Carrots are usually only available to hollow investigators because they have government support and they have the technology to generate these carrots. But other people, such as Proxies, are able to also create carrots. Carrots are read by Bangboos, which are the cute, smart little robots that look like rabbits. Bangboos were originally made to help New Eridu residents escape from hollow disasters. Since then, Bangboos have been used for many other things, but they can all read carrots or be modified to do so. So who are Proxies? In the world of Zenless Zone Zero, there are hollow investigators and hollow raiders. Both groups investigate hollows, but in different ways. Investigators are official and government regulated, while raiders operate illegally. Investigators often lead evacuation and research efforts commissioned by the HIA, the Hollow Investigative Association, while raiders take on odd jobs or try to get rich by looting the items or ether from within the hollows. Members of either group are called agents, and their roles within a hollow are usually combat and survival related. Proxies support hollow raiders specifically. They are largely responsible for generating carrots and providing other crucial information about the hollows to the agents they help. Think of proxies as navigators in One Piece, like Nami. Hollows are the open sea. As soon as you are in one, everything around you looks like more open sea. None of the landmarks are useful, and exits can hide themselves in plain sight in a very similar way to Harry Potter, where Harry has to run straight into a wall in order to enter platform 9 3/4. In other words, proxies help lead their clients to safety, much like navigators guide their crew to shore. The main characters Bell and Wise are legendary proxies, known as Phaethon. They have a great reputation for their high success rate. Phaethon's method is different from other proxies because they use a unique HDD system, Hollow Deep Dive system. This system lets Phaethon remotely control their Bangbu, Eos, from the safety of their room. While a Hollow's barrier usually cuts off communication, Phaethon and their HDD system are the only exception we know of so far. How other proxies conduct their work is not as clear, but one thing is certain. Most, if not all, proxies are skilled hackers and technologists. This skill is necessary either to steal carrots made by the HIA or to generate carrots on their own. Let's get back to the story. Ambi is stuck inside a hollow now, a companion hollow which is spawned off the larger Cretan hollow in the old Metro Junction area. With hollows, there are 6 major hollows, and the other hollows that kind of spawn off of them are smaller, and they are called the companion hollows. She is separated from Billy Kid and Nicole, but Billy quickly catches up with Ambi. They think that Nicole might have made it out of the hollow and is trying to put together a rescue for Billy and Ambi. For now, these two will team up to try to find their own way out. Eventually, they run into someone who also fell into the hollow with them, Silver. By the time Billy and Ambi find Silver, he is corrupted by ether, with large crystals painfully growing from within his body. Billy points out that Silver must have no ether aptitude. Ether aptitude is a natural tolerance from ether corruption. It practically decides if someone can be a hollow investigator or not. People with high aptitude can stay longer inside of a hollow, while people with no aptitude change almost immediately into the ethereals. Along with Silver is the important Strongbox that Nicole had. As Ambi thinks about trying to save Silver, he starts to completely transform into an ethereal dubbed Dullahan. Dullahan fights Billy and Ambi with neither side able to defeat the other. Billy does say though that Dullahan is healing during the fight, meaning their battle can only drag out longer, increasing Billy and Ambi's exposure to ether and taking time away from their escape. Billy decides then to create a diversion so that they can both escape, leaving the Strongbox with Dullahan. Meanwhile, we cut to Nicole, who has made it out of the hollow. Nicole asks Phaethon for help, offering to pay her entire bill at once, plus a share of the commission for her job with the Strongbox. Phaethon, the legendary proxy I mentioned earlier, are actually 2 siblings, Bell and Wise. You can choose either of these characters to be your main character. This brother-sister duo manage a video store called Random Play as a front while conducting proxy business as Phaethon in the shadows. Nicole's request is for Phaethon to help rescue Billy and Ambi and secure the Strongbox that was lost in the hollow. Phaethon agrees to help Nicole on those terms. Nicole is injured, and Belle takes her to take it easy. She must have taken some damage from the fall or something. Instead of entering the hollow, Nicole will help set Eos, the Phaethon siblings' Bangbu partner, by the entrance. Here we see how Phaethon works. Depending on who you pick as your main character at the start of the game, one of the siblings, the character you choose, will pilot the Bangbu Eos or remotely control them, and the other supports them. In my case, I picked Bell, and for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna tell the rest of the story from that perspective. If you picked Wise, just swap the two characters whenever I mention Bell. Bell, piloting Eos, enters the Hollow and quickly finds and meets up with Billy and Ambi. They immediately recognize Eos as the legendary Phaethon, noting Eos's orange scarf and ability to speak. During their escape, Phaethon instructs Billy and Ambi to run directly into a wall. Billy says it sounds crazy, but this moment shows how strange the inside of a hollow can be. In Ambi's words, a way out may look like a dead end, but a dead end could also just be a dead end. Phaethon assures them, though, that the wall is an exit, and the party uses it to escape successfully, with Nicole outside to greet them. This coordination between the party's escape and Nicole being at the other end of where the party exits at just the right time is a demonstration of Bell and Wise's expertise as proxies. The group talks outside about what to do next. Phaethon's job isn't done since Nicole's request included recovering the Strongbox instead of just rescuing Billy and Ambi. Ambi reports that the Strongbox is with the Dullahan, formerly Silver. A question is raised about what exactly is in the Strongbox and why is it so valuable. Nicole reveals that during their initial escape, she stole Silver's red tooth necklace, which is actually a flash drive. It's damaged, and Nicole asks Phaethon to try and recover the data from within it. Everyone is curious about what might be in the Strongbox, so Phaethon agrees. Some time passes and Phaethon decodes the data from the necklace. They find a passcode to open the Strongbox. Meanwhile, the Cunning Hares have found the Strongbox's location within the Hollow, which is strange, but later explained. Phaethon and the Hares meet and discuss their simple plan. Enter the companion Cretan Hollow, defeat Dullahan, and recover the Strongbox. The party then enters the Hollow. Billy asks Nicole, "How did you find the Strongbox?" Nicole reveals that she has a few contacts within the HIA. Nicole shows her resourcefulness, saying she made them an offer that they couldn't refuse. I don't think she threatened them, but that's what she says. She had them compare two maps from the HIA's previous observation missions of that Hollow and mark the difference. It's only an approximate location, but this is where Nicole thinks the Strongbox is hiding. Once they enter the Hollow, however, Bell's communication with the Cunning Hares starts to malfunction and glitch out. Bell is suddenly forcibly disconnected from Eos and the HDD system, leaving the Cunning Hares stranded and without a navigator while inside a Hollow. The attacker that caused this reveals themselves from within the HDD as a hacker. The hacker makes its demands very clear. They want the passcode for the Strongbox. Bell and Wise play dumb, saying they don't know the passcode, but the hacker reveals that it knows. The code was recovered from Silver's flash drive. As punishment for lying, the hacker deletes all the data inside Phaethon's databases. With the Cunning Hares wandering aimlessly in the Hollow, the situation looks very dire. The hacker sends a recording of the Cunning Hares to Phaethon to further incentivize them to give him the passcode, showing that the Cunning Hares are being led into danger by a mindless Eos and fighting for their lives in the Hollow. The Cunning Hares are in a really bad spot. They've already now stayed 4 times over their recommended Hollow time for their ether aptitude. Soon, the Hares spot a Hollow investigator with PubSec officers. A lifeline has appeared. Billy proposes they join up with the investigator to leave the Hollow since investigators always have a carrot as an escape route. But Nicole points out that because they, Nicole and the Cunning Hares, are illegal Hollow raiders, the PubSec officers with the investigator would just arrest them once they've made their escape. But Billy suggests giving up Eos and the Proxy's identity in exchange for their arrest so that they can escape. This plan would save them, like guaranteed, but it would also throw Bell and Wise under the bus. Ambi agrees that this plan is worth considering. After some thought though, Nicole decides the group should continue looking for a way out on their own without turning Bell and Wise in to the police. Bell and Wise see this all from the recording provided by the hacker, who openly mocks them and their professions. The hacker has clear disdain for proxies and hollow raiders, claiming that they cannot be trusted and that they are greedy wolves who only act behind the HIA's back. All of this is to show that the mysterious hacker has some sort of preference towards the HIA. The Phaethon siblings are out of options. The clock is ticking against the Cunning Hares. Belle decides then to tell the hacker that she will offer up the code as requested, but there's a problem. The password was deleted when the hacker wiped the siblings' database. The hacker is shocked, but Wise assures them that the password was obtained using the Internaut's computing power, and so there's a backup on the Internaut network. The hacker thinks for a bit and says the solution then is for Belle and Wise to give them access to their Phaethon Internaut account so they can get the password themselves. The siblings agree to this, and in exchange for the hacker's promise to save the Cunning Hares from the Hollow. Here we'll take a little detour and explain what the Internaut is exactly. The Internaut is also known as the Proxy Network, an underground online hub centered around the interests of proxies. The network resembles real-life online forums like Twitter, 4chan, and possibly Weibo, the Chinese Twitter. The users are anonymous, and it's enforced that they must be anonymous by the Internaut team. But they do have usernames and avatars that follow a set design. As well, they also have a reputation trust system and an Internaut level associated with their accounts. Unlike those real-life online forums, posts on the Internaut focus on the proxy profession, job postings, and news about new Eridu. This might be because the Internaut we see is from Belle and Wise's perspective, so we only see the posts that would show up on their personal feed. The welcome post says that anyone can use this network if they can afford the price, but it's unclear if that's the Internaut moderation team being cryptic or if there's actually a subscription fee. The Internaut is maintained by the Internaut team, and one of its main functions is to maintain that trust system I mentioned earlier with the Internaut level. Think of eBay or OfferUp, where user reviews and ratings from completed jobs are crucial to a proxy's ability to take on higher profile jobs. Phaethon is a legendary proxy known for their high job completion rate and positive reviews. Around the time Nicole asked Belle and Wise to decode the red tooth necklace, she also pleaded with the Phaethon siblings for a discount. This happens often with Nicole. The details of this commission, however, are already posted on the Internaut along with the commission fee. Belle and Wise say they do not offer discounts on Phaethon's commission fees, but Nicole is a regular customer and they're on friendly terms, so to help Nicole, Belle and Wise agree to make an alternate account on the Internaut to pay Nicole part of the fee, effectively giving her the requested discount. This way, the official commission fee on the Internaut network stays the same, and Belle and Wise can keep Phaethon's reputation as a highly reputable proxy worth a high and firm price. The Internaut is more than just an online messaging forum though. It also lets users store data like a Google Drive and access the network's computing power. So this is like cloud gaming, right? Like I think Hoyoverse actually has a Genshin Impact cloud gaming client. Basically what they're doing is borrowing computing power from a supercomputer that is not their own but belongs to the Internaut. My guess is that the level of access to that computing power depends on the level of the Internaut account making the request, but that's just speculation. Given Phaethon's great reputation, while we don't know exactly what Internaut level Phaethon had, it is almost certainly very high. But all that work is about to go down the drain. Belle sends the hacker Phaethon's account details, a total submission, a total loss. In their weakened state, Belle asks what is inside the Strongbox in order for it to be so important. The hacker at this point believes that they've won, right? They've won without question, they have nothing to lose, and so in their arrogance, they reveal that the Strongbox contains a key. Carrots are created by calculating an enormous amount of holo data. This data is obtained by holo observational equipment. However, holos are constantly changing, which means that over time, the equipment will slowly crop up more errors. To prevent this, holo observational equipment need to sync up and recalibrate with the holo master data, otherwise known as the Rosetta data. This Rosetta data is owned by the rulers of New Eridu. The hacker reveals that what is inside the Strongbox is something very similar to that Rosetta data. It is essentially a skeleton key, a key that opens all doors, and it will let the holder enter and exit hollows freely. After revealing this, the hacker demands Bell and Wise to tell them where exactly in the proxy network the password is hidden. This confirms Bell and Wise's suspicions, so they begin to question the hacker. If the hacker is so powerful, why haven't they hacked the internet themselves to obtain the password? Why didn't the hacker look in the database for the password before deleting it? At this point, it is extremely clear that this hacker is not exactly as powerful as they once thought. From here, we hear sirens come from the hacker's mic. Bell and Wise reveal their plan. After giving the hacker their Phaethon account, they also reported its location to public security. Proxies are legal, and with the general election on the horizon, public security has been cracking down harder on illegal hollow activity. It isn't exactly explained how the siblings do this, but how I think of it is that Bell and Wise stuck the account with something similar to an AirTag or possibly a virus that sent the user's IP address to the authorities before handing over the account details. Bell and Wise succeeds in getting the hacker arrested, but at the cost of their Phaethon account. After dealing with the hacker, Bell and Wise start up the HDD system and proceed to help rescue the Cunning Hares. After regaining control of EOS, the party decides to move forward with the plan to get the Strongbox. During a break, the siblings tell the Cunning Hares what happened. It's likely that the flash drive was tampered with and had a virus that gave the hacker access to the HDD. This makes Nicole think that the Red Fang gang were not stealing the Strongbox for themselves, but for someone else, possibly the hacker. My theory behind this is that the password had to be decoded, which the hacker might not have been able to do. Remember, he's not very good at hacking. But the hacker may have put a way to interfere if anyone decoded the password, allowing them to intercept any attempts to open the Strongbox so that they can open it themselves. That's my guess anyway. Let me know if you guys have any other theories. I'd be interested to know. Eventually, the party finds the Strongbox, but it is guarded by Dullahan. The Cunning Hares destroy Dullahan in a battle and seize the Strongbox. But there's one problem. Because the hacker destroyed Phaethon's database, the party no longer has a valid exit route out of the hollow, leaving all of them stranded. This is likely the reason why the party did not choose to leave the hollow when Bell regained control of EOS, despite having long overstayed their recommended allowed hollow time. Bell quickly explains that their only way out may be inside the Strongbox, since it contains a key similar to the Rosetta data. Despite how this would almost certainly nullify Nicole's commission and her job, it is a life or death situation. So Nicole approves Phaethon's decision to open the Strongbox. Finally, we see what has remained elusive for this entire chapter. What is finally inside that Strongbox? A single, mysterious, black data chip. Before entering the chip into EOS, Ambi questions the siblings' motives. The siblings control EOS remotely. There is little reason for the siblings to go back and rescue them. With the Phaethon account lost, this would probably also nullify the commission status on the internet, possibly implying that the Cunning Hares are no longer obligated to pay the commission since the recipient account, Phaethon, is suspended and in the hands of public security. There would be no damage to the siblings' reputation because they no longer have one. This question likely stems from Billy and Ambi's proposal earlier to sell Phaethon out for their own escape. Belle assures them, though, that she has no ulterior motives. She simply intends to fulfill her promise to secure an escape as what she should do as a proxy. And with that, Belle inserts the chip into EOS. Immediately, we see a vision. Whether this is a flashback or flash forward is uncertain, but I think it's a flash forward. Bell and Wise are standing atop a bridge or scaffolding overlooking the Shiyu pillars and Hollow Zero. From the lore teaser, where the miracle began, we know that the Shiyu pillars refine etheric matter into energy and transports it across New Eridu. We learn more about Hollow Zero in chapter 1.5. Wise says in the vision, it all comes down to this. After siblings stare at each other, we see Hollow Zero expand rapidly, engulfing them and possibly all of New Eridu. We return to the present, with Bell or whichever sibling piloted EOS coming in and out of consciousness. We hear Wise expressing his worry and urging Bell to wake up. There's also a mysterious AI voice reading off terms and conditions. The terms are not stated in full and are broken up by Belle's lack of consciousness, but it sounds like the voice is trying to secure exclusivity to Belle and ensure that nobody else can use the AI. The AI finally asks, "Do you agree to the above user terms?" If you choose to disagree repeatedly, Belle will not be able to comply with that disagreement. She cannot vocalize and say, "I disagree." She will instead protest and say her eyes and her body are in immense pain. Eventually, the only decision left is to agree to the terms laid out by the mysterious AI. Following this, we hear two voices. This isn't something Belle can hear, it is happening outside of New Eridu at the same time. These two voices are heavily distorted, similar to how the hacker's voice was distorted, but they could be the same people speaking in the lore teaser where the miracle began. An excitable woman and an enigmatic male. Here we see them refer to the surprising awakening of one of four keys. Ghost, Jinni, and Yokai are three of the other keys mentioned, but the key that has been awakened in this instance is known as Fairy. Belle wakes up and explains to Wise the vision and everything that occurred during her blackout. Wise explains his side of the story. After Belle inserted the chip and lost consciousness, Eos went out of control, sparking and flashing intense lights. It then started to move and led the Cunning Hares to the Hollow's exit. Belle was completely unconscious, twitching and mumbling the entire time. Nicole rushed over with a mysterious doctor, likely a contact of Nicole's, who was able to pull Belle out of the HDD. Wise reports that Nicole paid her bill in full, but that most of their payout was used for medical bills and Bangbu repairs. Wise then introduces Belle to their big problem, who suddenly appears in the HDD system. A voice emerges, introducing itself as Fairy, a Type 3 general-purpose AI equipped with sequential integration. Fairy introduces herself and states its purpose is to assist Belle with her work until the opportunity arises. The user agreement that Belle agreed to previously in her blackout is the reason why this opportunity cannot be disclosed and is also the reason for Fairy's assistance. Fairy immediately begins work by analyzing Belle's job as a proxy and the damage left by the hacker's attack from earlier, offering to rebuild the database that was lost. Fairy says that she can do this because she has unlimited access to 80% of all smart devices in New Eridu, and that instead of accumulating data to generate carrots, Fairy can provide real-time analysis of hollow extraction paths, something Wise says isn't possible. This implies that Fairy can generate reliable carrots at a much faster rate. From now on, aside from the HDD, the Phaethon siblings now have another extremely valuable and potentially dangerous asset in Fairy, who will help them with their hollow investigations as per their user agreement. And they're going to need a lot of help too, because the new account, the new alternate account that they made, needs a lot of leveling up to do.